Hey, hello everybody, welcome back to one more time Clancy Division 2 video. So in today's video I want to talk about what it's been and still is one of the best legendaries built for solo or group plays, because this is what a lot of actual speedrunners been using to complete legendaries in the Division 2. Now this build is something that I have on my arsenal for a long time, because if I want to do a little bit of a speed run, this is what I go through, because this is the build that not only put a lot of DPS, you can actually share that damage through more NPCs as you shoot one of them, right? So this is the beauty of this build. Once you actually count the fact that you are shooting one NPC and doing damage to another 2 or 4 depending how many you have marked, you are doing a lot of damage. So technically you can count that as one of the highest DPS builds in the game, right? Because you're doing a lot of damage to multiple NPCs at once. Now I have used this build on many of the legendaries, and especially the new ones that came in Title Update 16, right? Title Basing Legendary and also the Manning Zoo Legendary. As a fact, that was my first run on the Manning Zoo. It was totally blind, my first time, never seen it, and I did pretty well. I didn't finish it, but I did pretty well for the first time, not seeing any footage of the run in any other channels. But yeah, this is gonna be the build that I use for those runs and many other runs on legendaries before. So what am I talking about? So I am talking about the gear set Negotiators Dilemma. This is a gear set that's been in the game for a while, and it's a very good gear set for damage overall. So by equipping 2 pieces you get 15% crit chance right out of the gate, right? So that's really good. With 3 pieces equipped you gain a 20% crit damage, so that's gonna add up to that damage. So once you equip the 4th piece, this is where things start getting spicy. So with the 4th piece equipped you get the hostile negotiation talent. So with this talent, right, the critical hits mark enemies for 20 seconds up to 3 marks total. So you can mark 3 enemies for 20 seconds. Now when you critical hit a marked enemy, all other marked enemies take 60% of that damage dealt to that enemy that you are shooting at. So whenever a marked enemy dies, gain 2% crit hit damage, stacking up to 20 times until combat ends. So just right there, this gear set is one of the best damage right out of the gate. Very simple but very efficient type of talent, right? Hostile negotiation. Now if you have equipped a chess piece, right, instead of having only 3 marked enemies, you can increase that hostile negotiation mark count from 3 to a 5 mark. So you can mark up to 5 enemies if you have equipped the chess piece. Now in the other hand, if you have equipped the backpack, right, which is where you have the second talent of a gear set, you have the critical measure, increase hostile negotiation damage to additional marked enemies from 60 to 100%. So that means instead of doing 60% damage to your marked enemies, you're gonna deal 100% of damage to all of the marked enemies that you have by shooting only 1 NPC. If you have 5 enemies marked, you shoot 1 of them, all of them is gonna get 100% of damage equal to the 1 enemy that you are shooting at. So the backpack and the chest piece are really cool and really nice additions to the damage to this build. But I'm not gonna use neither the backpack or the chest piece for this build for the Negotiators Dilemma gear set. So on this build specifically, I am running with the mask, which has weapon damage and attribute crit chance with a model crit chance. The holster will have weapon damage and crit damage, the knee pads weapon damage and crit damage, and then the gloves will have weapon damage and crit damage also. The chest piece that I have in here, this is a named chest piece, which is the pristine example. This is a chest piece that comes from the brand set Heraldi. We are using this name item because of the talent, the perfect focused. Because even if you go with the Ferris Group AB, right, the chest piece that will give you a 10% assault rifle damage, right, that makes more sense, right, for this build, and you change that talent to just the regular focus, right? Perfect focus gives you up to 60% weapon damage, but the regular focus will give you up to 50% weapon damage. Now that might seems like you would get it from Ferris Group AB, right? That would balance things out, but actually testing things out, Pristine Example will do more damage once you have the perfect focus all the way activated. So if you are sure you're gonna be taking advantage of the perfect focus and be scoped in at all time, the Pristine Example will be your best bet for the highest damage. So with that said, that's the reason we have the Pristine Example named chess piece right here, with the core attribute weapon damage, attribute crit chance crit damage, and a mod of crit chance. Now perfect focus, increase total weapon damage by 6% every second you are aiming while scoped at 8 times or higher, and that can go up to a 60%. So a 60% weapon damage, right? And then it requires a scope of 8 times magnification or higher. And right now, as you see on my hands, I have the busy little bit, right? So that's why it's not activated. You actually have to let's put that on. So you see I have my Police M4 right now on my hand, right? And if I go on mods, I have this mod right here on the scope, which is an 8 times scope, right? Anything higher than that or that will activate Pristine Example, and if you go now, you see it's activated. And the second part of this talent, obviously once you scope in, you see in the bottom right there next to the Negotiators logo, right, the talent focus activating all the way up, and now I have max damage of 60%, right? So that's how you can activate this talent. So moving on for the backpack, right? So on the backpack, I'm gonna give you 2 choices in here because, as I said, this build can be played as a solo or a group play. So if you are solo, which I do the most times, I am using the Memento, one of the best backpacks exotics in the game. It comes with 3 core attributes: weapon damage, armor, and skill tier, and that's gonna help my Crusader basic shield, which is gonna go to tier 3, right? Because 2 from here and 1 from the specialization, that's gonna put at tier 3. And also by having another skill tier from the backpack and also from the specialization, my turret's gonna go for tier 2. So all of that actually comes very handy from the backpack. Not only that, the backpack kill confirm talent is very useful and very good, one of my favorite, because I don't have to use medkit for the most times. So you kill enemies, it drops trophies on the floor. By collecting these trophies, you can get up to a 30 maximum stacks. Once you have the maximum stacks of 30, we're gonna have a 30% weapon damage, a 30% skill efficiency, and a 3% armor regenerations for 5 minutes, which is 300 seconds, right? So that's 5 minutes throughout the combat, and for me that's a plus in my book. Now if you are play on a group, right, you can actually equip a Grupo Sombra with a talent Vigilance, because while Vigilance, if you are in a group, well, you're not gonna get it deactivated a lot. So on a group scenario, you have a lot more chance of having Vigilance activated for the longest, even though it comes back up faster. And Vigilance straight up increase total weapon damage by 25%, right? Taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds, which is not that bad. So moving from that, let's talk about the weapon. So the weapon that I'm using on this build is the Police M4. So any AR of your choice is good, but honestly, I just love the Police M4. Another option could be the FAMAS or the KINGBREAKER. Now the FAMAS has a lower range of 28, and the Police M4 will be the highest on the range. The KINGBREAKER, I believe, is on 31 meters on range, and overall the Police M4 has a better drop-off damage, because keep in mind you're gonna be using this build from far away on legendaries, at least for me, and you know, having a good range and a good drop-off damage is very good for this build. So obviously with attribute damage that are out of cover on the third one, that's the best one, and at the talent flatline amplifies weapon damage by 15% to pulse enemies, and is very good because we have a all red build in here. Now another option on the talent can be the insync, especially on this build where we have the turret out there always shooting enemies. This is actually gonna have our insync proc at all time. I do have insync on my SMG because the SIG does not get the mod that comes on the specialization technician, which is the link laser pointer. By equipping this mod on my Police M4, I have basically 100% uptime for my pulse enemies. That way I have the flatline working very well. So with that said, the mods that I have on this Police M4 is going to be the linked laser pointer on the barrel. It's going to be the 30% headshot damage with the CQBSS scope, which is an 8-time scope, right? The magazine will be the plus 20 rounds and minus 10% reload speed with a stored extending magazine, and then on the muzzle we'll have that plus 5% crit chance on the muzzle. To finish it off, the specialization that we're going for is the technician, because one, it gives you this right here, which is the linked laser pointer. You equip it by having the technician on, right? And then not only that, we do have this right here, which is a plus 12% damage to drone skill proxies and our robotics. That's gonna help us destroy those doggos a lot faster on a legendary. Not only that, you get a plus 1 skill tier, and then we have also the 10% skill damage to our turret from the overclocked CPU. Now taking a look at the stats before we go, so on the Police M4 we have 60% crit chance, right? That's right there on the cap, 113 crit damage, 105 headshot damage, with a total of weapon damage 118%, and then 30% assault rifle damage for this build. But that said, that's all I have for you guys today on this video. Let me know what you guys think of this build. Have you used it? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed, a like would be super appreciated. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.